Podcast Bites.
Wellness Force Radio, where we discover the physical and emotional intelligence to live life well.
Let's start with the awareness first. And a lot of people use morning pages as a way to download. Some people use Scrivener to write a book. Other people do blogs every day. You know what it really begins with, man? And this is going to sound so simple, but I want this to land for everyone. Start with where you are. Do what you can with what you have. I don't know who said it. It resonates the truth for me. Just start. Just start. I mean, Sword in the Stone, Archimedes.
Oh my gosh,
right?
yes.
This is one of my favorite mentors when I was a child. This is why I love certain movies, because they have such radical lessons. And he talked about like just starting. I mean, that's it. These little kids are receiving this message from a Disney movie, like literally start where you are, because the kid didn't pull out the sword and the stone unless he tried, right?
Yeah.
And we're all working on our own story. We're all working on our own separation, initiation, and return to be our own sword in the stone sword puller. We're all working on that. So start with where you are. What does it look like tactfully, though? So nuts and bolts. What I did is that I started looking at how other storytellers were telling their stories. So when I started, I would look at like John Lee Dumas, or I would look at like a Jade Teta, or I would look at my friends in the space, and I would study them. I would very conscientiously study how masterful storytellers were telling their story. And then I would go home and I would write like a press page, or I would write like a media kit, or I would just practice it all. And I can't tell you how many times I've updated that story. And now I can tell the story with no notes from my heart because I've practiced it so many times. And I don't need to have notes to tell who I am, because I just know who I am because I've practiced explaining it and articulating it. And I think from a tactical perspective, first, have the self-awareness to just start where you are and just write down what you think your story is and don't judge it. That's a big piece. Start with where you are with what you have, and don't judge yourself. Remove judgment.
Which that takes work in and of itself.
That takes work in itself. And that's a whole podcast, right? Like Michael Gervais was on the show and he said, like, really, what is presence? Presence is the awareness of any moment without judgment. That is,
say that again, please.
Presence is the awareness of any moment without judgment.
So important.
So that's presence, right? And this is spoken from one of the leading psychologists in the world. So if he's saying it, and he's a spiritual man that also has deep roots in academia and works with professional athletes, I'm going to learn from him. I'm going to pause and take that in, you know? So when we start with that lens of awareness, then go to the mentors and the people in your space that you think are telling really good stories, and then go home and practice telling your story in a similar mirror of theirs. Yeah. And we all do it. Look, I'll be honest. Like when I first started, I would like listen to a mentor and kind of copy a little bit of what they were doing. And then over time, my story became an amalgam of all the mentors that I liked. And I would put it all into a page, you know? And then when I had my come to Jesus moment in Vegas with my coach, I threw it all away because I had done so much practice that emotionally, spiritually, it came through where I just wrote it right there how I felt, you know, who I am and what is my story. And right after that, I had my first speaking gig ever at Sean Croston's mastermind, the Underground Wellness Mastermind. And it's so funny, you were saying last week you had a speaking gig. The title of my speech was How to Speak Your Truth.
There is no box. You create that box in your mind, or someone else creates it for you.